Hey friends, and welcome back to another video, or welcome if you are new. If you are new, my name is Leanne, and I hope that you enjoy what I share with you today and that you hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on my future videos. Today we're doing some fun spring DIYs, some spring home decor, and I know I'm getting in the mood for spring. I hope that you are too. Let's get started with the first DIY. All right, so starting off, I've got this bird. This is from the Dollar General. They are usually $1, but I'm fairly confident I picked this one up on clearance for like 10 cents. Dollar General clearance after seasonal stuff or after season stuff is great finds. And I'm just painting that with some Waverly chalk paint in the color plaster. Mine is a little bit thinned out because I've had to put a little bit of water at the bottom because, well, I'm at the bottom and it's older and it's thicker. So it's not a super, I think I did 2 coats with it because it was a little bit thinner, but that's okay. And we are going to then go in with some clear wax from Waverly, and I'm tinting it with, or mixing it with some Waverly chalk paint in the color Elephant. Now, I was thinking I may have done my ratios off. I feel like I should have done less paint, more wax, but it works out fine in the end. I'm brushing it on pretty thick, and then I'm using a paper towel to wipe it off. It was initially a little bit darker than I wanted, so I just really worked the paper towel to wipe it off and just kept going until I got the desired look. I love these little birds because they have so much texture, and so I just wanted to bring that texture out, but mute it down a little bit for my decor. But you, of course, could do this any color you wanted, and you could use a colored wax if you wanted as well. I thought about using my antique wax, but I didn't. I went with this. So wiping it out, brushing it on, wiping it off, and you can see here I'm just pressing a little bit harder in some areas, just really wanting to highlight all of the texture. And then I've got this candle, I don't know, holder, pedestal, something or other, and a terracotta pot. The blue base is actually from Hobby Lobby, and I picked it up on clearance. You could see it was a little bit chipped. It was after season, and I paid, I don't know, 20 cents for it. I think I paid less than that. I got like 3 of them because it was so cheap. Anyways, I'm using some super glue gel, and I was trying to use my hot glue gun, and I was not figuring it out. I've had this one for years and haven't been able to figure it out. I figured it out later in the video, but at this point I wasn't. So I'm just going in with some super glue gel, and I was trying to figure out how long it's supposed to take before it holds, and I moved on a little too quickly. You'll see in a second. But then I'm going to go in with some Mod Podge. I'm using the dishwasher safe one just because that's what I had around. And you can see it popped off. And the danger of that was when I grabbed it with my hand, I got super glue gel on my fingers. But I had to keep moving because I was like, the Mod Podge is going to be streaky and clumpy if I don't keep doing it. I'm doing the Mod Podge so that the paint will adhere better to the ceramic base here. Anyways, then I'm going in with a little bit more super glue, and we're going to weight it down to let it fully dry. You can see I kept wrapping my paintbrush from the Mod Podge in some plastic wrap, and that's just so that I didn't have to completely wash it in between. That was keeping it from drying out, and that worked really well. And then I'm going in with more of the Waverly chalk paint in plaster. I did a couple coats in the whole thing because I was wanting to give it a good base coat. And then I'm going in with some greens and a brown. I use a little bit of the gray paint that was on the bird. And guys, I'm going to take you through the process. So I wanted a really weathered, old pot looking piece that looked like it had just been out in the garden for a ton of time, and a bird comes and makes its home. So at first here, it looks like I'm going for some type of camo look. I was dotting it on, smudging it, smearing it, wiping it, blending it. And at first I just thought, oh my gosh, what did I do to this thing? I'm going to have to start over again. I went with the greens because of, like, you know, moss and things like that growing up on it. It's going to be okay in the end. I actually really, really like how it turned out. But this went through a little bit of a journey, this whole process. So I decided I needed to lighten it up, so I went back in with some plaster, but just did a dry brush on the whole thing. And this is really sped up. I know my hand's moving crazy here, but this portion of the video would have been very long if I didn't do that.
And at one point I was trying to layer too quickly. Things were not dried in between. So I felt like I was just destroying everything. Anyways, I pull out my hairdryer. I have a low cool temp setting on my hairdryer, and that's what I usually use to dry paint. And we're just going to build and build, brush, wipe, brush, wipe. I did go in with some like green and, no, I think brown in a couple spots that I went thicker, and I just dabbed it with the paper towel instead of wiping it because I wanted some darker spots. I wanted rusty, mossy, really old. So I'll show it to you at the end. And then I just put a little napkin in the pot to fill it in a little bit, and then I just made a rough nest with the moss. I did not glue this. I did not even attach this to the top. I just set the bird on top, and I thought this was really cute. Like I said, I will show this to you at the end of the video. So even when projects look like they're not coming out, don't give up, keep going, and it still may end up working. Okay, so for our next one, I have this little tin house from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to give it a coat of Mod Podge. Once again, Mod Podge helps paint stick to certain surfaces better. So that's what we're doing here. And then once it was dry, going in with Waverly chalk paint in the color Celery. I love the color Celery and Moss for my everyday decor and for spring. I just love incorporating those colors. So we're going to give this a couple of coats, and I was trying really hard to keep the backside clean too because I wasn't sure how that was going to end up working, but you'll see. So we're going to let that dry. I have this canvasy burlappy bag from Dollar Tree. As you can see, I've used portions of it before. So I'm going to use that. I'm trying out these stamps. I've actually used these stamps before. They're from the Dollar Tree, and I tried out by stamping it on paper, and then I tried it on the fabric, and I didn't like it. It wasn't working, but I figured I'd show this to you anyway. I tried it a couple times. You'll see I'm just moving up on the material, and now we're going to use a stencil. This is also from the Dollar Tree. It comes in one of those wheel stencils, and this is a bird, and I'm just covering up a branch that was in there for like the bird to be sitting on because I didn't want to stencil that. And I'm going to stencil that with some, I think I'm just using some like white acrylic paint by Apple Barrel, and that worked. So we're gonna go with that. And I'm going back and forth because this is just how the project worked out. So I'm going to seal the paint in on this with some more Mod Podge so that it does not chip off. And then we're going to take this material and we're going to attach it. So I'm going to start by hot gluing. I did put on some finger protectors because I was using the hot temp glue setting, and this material is obviously, see-through. So I have a little silicone spatula brush thing. It's actually from the makeup department of the Dollar Tree, and my finger protectors. And we're going to first hot glue around the circle opening because I wanted to make sure this bird was centered and the material didn't shift. And then we'll go around and hot glue around the entire house because I wanted it to just look more finished in the back, and I thought if I covered the whole thing with the material, it would look more finished. If you are enjoying this video, please give it a thumbs up. That helps me out so much, and it lets YouTube know that you're liking what I'm doing, and they think maybe someone else will like this video too, and they're more likely to share my video with others. Once the hot glue is all done, we're going to just trim this off and make sure that it's trimmed down to size and that nothing is peeking out the front of the house, so it just has a nice clean finish. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, if you have not yet subscribed, I would love it if you would consider doing so. Just hit that subscribe button and make sure you turn on the bell notification next to it. If you are subscribed and your notification bell isn't turned on, make sure you do that so that you will be notified when I upload a new video. I decided to cut out a little bit more material to layer it because it was a little too see-through and the bird kind of got lost. I could have done a colored bird, but I really did want to keep it a little bit more neutral. But adding another layer of the fabric helped a lot. And once again, I'll show you that at the end. For our last DIY, I have this metal hello sign from the Dollar Tree. They had it in a couple of different phrases, or words, I should say. I don't remember, I think one was garden and then maybe spring. I'm not sure. Once again, we're going to cover this with Mod Podge, and then I'm going in with some paints. I've got Lime Sorbet and Daybreak. These are both from Plaid. They sent them to me a while back, and I wanted to go for something bright and springy. This is going to be going outside on a wreath, and I'll show you how we put that together. So I'm going to paint the bird yellow, and the rest of it we're going to do in that pretty green color. and I just took my time. I didn't want to make a mess on this. Because this is going on a wreath, the backside would be seen from the inside of my house because my door is glass. So I ended up cleaning up the back of this metal sign with like a baby wipe for any paint that got on the back. But I was trying to be neat while I was painting, and this was going to take a couple of coats. So once again, I went in with my hairdryer on the cool setting and dried it. And I did probably, I think I might have done 3 or 4 coats in the yellow for the bird and maybe 3 for the green. But I just wanted a nice bright look, and it wasn't hard, but it did take a little bit of time because I had to do a couple of coats. It probably would have done less if I had Waverly chalk paint, but I didn't have the colors I wanted for this sign. And then once it was done, once again, we're going to seal it with some Mod Podge. I think I did 2 coats of this just because I wanted to protect it more since it would be outside. I think there was an outdoor Mod Podge, but I do not have that, and I need to look into that. But I, once again, gave that a coat, and I was just kind of wiping off the Mod Podge as it went through the little cutouts because I didn't want globs of Mod Podge drying on the back side, because once again, you'd be able to see the back of this through my door, and I just wanted it to look nice. And I ended up getting this grapevine wreath from Hobby Lobby, and for some reason I had a heck of a time getting this tag off because it was on with like a thick metal ring. But I got it off, or you could just tuck it away so it can't be seen. But this wreath was $4.99. It was not on sale. When I went in, all of the wreaths were half off, but this particular one wasn't. But it's $4.99, and I know that I can make it over and reuse it over and over again. So I'm using this berry garland. It's like a white and green. It is from the Dollar Tree, but Hobby Lobby has it as well. At the Dollar Tree, it is called, I think, berry garland. I don't know what it is called at Hobby Lobby. And then we're going to, and it's wired, so I'm just wrapping that around, and I'm going to use some floral wire to firmly attach the hello. I did it nice and tight because the bottom wouldn't be attached, and our front porch gets a lot of like wind and sun, so I wanted to kind of hold it in place. So I just used some floral wire to do so, and I almost went with a different wreath form from like the Dollar Tree, but I couldn't find it the day I went out looking for it. And I don't want to spend a lot of money on my wreaths. Like I said, my front porch gets so much sun that everything fades really quick. So I really like things that are inexpensive and that I can change up. And so I figured this grapevine wreath wouldn't look too bad, even if it did get faded. And if it did get too bad, I could also spray paint it to freshen it up. So I can change this out for the different seasons. Anyways, I'm just attaching a scrap piece of like jute twine on the back, just tied it and then tied a little loop to hang it on my front door. So that's all I'm doing. I could have used wire, but I was trying to minimize things on the back of the wreath that could scratch my front door. So I'm going to show it to you not hung up, and then I will show it to you hung up, but I wasn't sure how well the shot would come out because it was going to be on a glass door. So that is how it came out. I do love it, and the wreath itself is pretty subtle, but the hello is nice and bright. And here is my little bird nest that made its home in an old rustic pot from the backyard, and I think I got the look that I was going for, even though it was a little journey to get there. And here's the house. That is it.
I hope that you enjoyed today's video. If you did, don't forget once again to give it a thumbs up. That helps me out so much. And if you're new and you like this video, please consider hitting that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on my future videos. That is it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.